the hard part about this cane is the easy part about this cane. It's that you have options. You decide how big it's going to be. You can do it based on how much clay you have or just how much you are going to need at the end of this, but it doesn't reduce well. So know how big you want your pattern to be when you're making your decisions at the beginning. That's my first tip. And just know that the way I'm doing it is the way that I think is the most straightforward, but obviously there's always room for tinkering. So we're going to jump into this. What we are doing is creating the sheets that we're going to stack up that will become this piano pattern. There's a few air bubbles in there, but I am going to show you how to make the black keys with that thin stripe. So first we'll do the thin stripe. Now these are made with different thicknesses on my pasta machine. This I made with a number 4. This one I think was a number 5. Today I'm working with a number 6, and it's just going to be a smaller pattern. I have a piece of black, just a piece of black, and it was rolled out on a number 6. And the first part of this is that I'm going to sandwich it between 2 pieces of white. I always feel like I have to fill the dead air with humming. I do this a lot, even if I'm not recording. Okay, so we have 3 identical pieces, and I just want you to know I'm using a number 6 on my machine. It's probably different than the number 6 on your machine, and this part's all relative. The important thing is to pick a thickness and stick with it. If you pick the thickest setting on your machine, you're going to have a big piece of piano. So consider that. I think it works best in the thinner ranges because you're stacking so many, it gets thick. We have our first sandwich here. It's white, black, white, all the same thickness. And now I'm going to put them through the pasta machine all on the same thickness. So I'm rolling it through and continuing on a number 6. And this isn't clear here, but if you have like a longer rectangle, depending on how you cut this part out, put it through lengthwise to keep that rectangle getting longer instead of wider. You can still work with it wider, but I find it easier to keep it going longer and skinnier. So let's run that through on a 6, and this is what we have. I always clean up my edges. Clean edges make better results. So there is our initial stripe, and we're going to do this one more time. So I'm going to, I like to trim these edges before I do everything. We're going to sandwich, let's do it this way. Sandwich this piece now between 2 more layers of white. I don't think that's wide enough. We'll go up here. Again, this white is the same thickness. Everything's the same thickness. No matter the thickness you choose, just stick with it. Probably could have flipped that. I'm gonna move it over. Okay, here we have another sandwich. We're gonna run this through lengthwise. When I say lengthwise, I mean take the short end and let your pasta machine pull it through like that. Don't put it in with the wide part through the rollers. Short part through the rollers. All right, next we have a nice thin stripe. All right, we are going to take this and trim it. Now this is the part where I start overthinking the geometry, myself. I like having, we might have to make another one of these stripes, let's just say it that way, because I want to have 5 of these pieces and I want to have a good size cane. So let's just make our initial striped sheet and then we'll get to that next part. I'm going to cut a clean edge from this. One of the best ways to get a clean edge is to use a ruler if you feel so inclined. This one has cork on the back. Let's see. Oh, and it's a little dirty. Maybe I won't use that one. Oh well, we're gonna wing it. Are you ready? I just need that clean edge because I want a sharp line between this striped sheet and between this black sheet. So these work out to be really cool scraps. Okay, I don't need this edge to be straight. We're gonna work it all out here. That's extra white. I will probably have to resheet that in a minute. So let's keep it all together. Okay, this will also need a nice straight edge, although I could probably go a little thicker on this. Let me run it through a few times. Or wider. Let me see what I come up with. Is that wide enough? All right, we're back. I just wanted to condition a little more black clay and I didn't think you needed to wait around for me to do that. Here's a skinny sheet of black. This one makes me feel a little better. I like overdoing things, what can I say? Here we go. This part's, you know, it's all relative, but we do need this to be a clean line instead of that stretched out rounded edge that you get when you put things through a pasta machine. So there's a nice crisp line, and we are going to take these two pieces and just butt them up against each other. This part's not very technical, it just gets a little sticky. You don't want to press too hard because you want to keep that edge kind of refined. There I go again. I can't just be quiet, can I? No. Okay. So right now I'm just pressing these together. Pressing these together. Okay, I have an extra piece of black there. So what we want with this next part is 5 equal pieces. And just for simplicity's sake, let's make that a little more rectangular. And then, I don't know, how wide is this? I have clay stuck to my blade, I'll use that to measure. Goes about that wide, to about that wide. All right. I'm just gonna cut off this rough edge here. This part is really not important, but it just, I think, helps visually if we have a nice cleaned up sheet. These should be roughly equal. I think we have a little wider on the black, but that's okay. And then we're gonna go 5 pieces. How long is this? This is 6. That's about, let's call it 7.5. 7.5, that's like, so I think we could go, let's see, is it 1.5 or 1.25? 1.25. We're gonna go 1.25. This math is irrelevant to you. You are working with your own measurements. 2.5, and then we go up to 4. Then 5.25, and then we come up another 1.25. Okay, we're gonna have a little extra, but I'm not gonna redo that. You're welcome to adjust your measurements to get the maximum out of these sheets. Like I said, this is, oh, did I measure that one wrong? I might have measured that one wrong. Let's make up for it by making that one a little bigger. I eyeball a lot of things. Okay, we'll move this out of the way. That's still just black. That's still a handy piece of stripe you can use in other things. We now need to, whoa, somebody's moving the stool over my head. I'm gonna sheet these up and come back to you, and then we'll get ready to stack. I flattened up sheets again, and I've got this piece here that I need to make 2 sheets of this white stripe again. I could have made more at the beginning, but I overthink the geometry of it. I never know how to cut like 2 full sheets of the right size, and then I end up having a sheet that's too small. So this is easier for me to just do this process twice. That is plenty. I have lots of things I like to do with these stripes, so I don't mind having the extra. Probably could have gone way smaller, but then I always run the risk of, what if I don't make enough? Then I guess you just make it again. Do you see why this is so hard to explain? Because there's so much, there are variables, but you're gonna see how simple it is once we start building. We've got our stripe. We are going to, I'm just gonna mark it, how much I need to cut. Where were we? Right here and right here. So we can get this out of the way. And then I'm going to sheet this back up. We're going to need 7 matching pieces of the white. I did that part off camera so you wouldn't have to listen to me hum. I just sheeted up my white again, and I cut same thickness, same size rectangle, roughly, to go along with these sheets. Oh, now I'm going to make some noise. I'm going to pull up my notes. We're going to layer them. Now it's going to come together quickly. Once we've got these sheets made, it's really a pretty easy process. So those are a little wide. I'm going to trim them. I like having these little pieces of stripe around. They're fun to add to other things. Let's just do that. And now we're going to take a white. We're going to start with just a piece of the plain white. That's our first layer. And then we're going to take, these are harder to pick up if you use sticky clay like I did. We're going to pick up our first black stripe layer and just lay it down. This part doesn't have to be perfect, but it's in my nature to fiddle, so I do. Okay, that part pretty straight. So we have a white, white, black, another white, another black stripe, and now this part is probably the most you have to pay attention to in this whole process. You want to look at the front as you lay it down, and then look again at the back as you lay it down, and make sure these keys line up. It won't be perfect. I don't usually do it perfectly. In this one, they're all over the place. This is one of the first ones I made. They're all over the place, but it's still a piano. So do your best to line those keys up right down the middle. That's where I go, right down the middle. We're going to do one more sheet of white. One more sheet of the black and stripe. Line it up in the front, and before you press it down too hard, this is the one I went a little too wide on. I'm going to trim that just so it's not in the way. So it's relatively straight. Try and keep it that way. So now that we've got our third, I flipped it, but we've got our third, this is the way I like to look at it actually. Third black and stripe layer down. After that, we are going to do a row of white. And then we're going to take one of our full stripe layers. Cover that. We are going to take another layer of white. See what's happening here? Another layer of white. And then we're going to go back to the striped black. Okay. This one came apart a little bit. Line it up at the front. And then because it's so sticky, I want to make sure I'm lining it up right before it touches. That's just for my particular clay. Perhaps you leach yours. We're going to take another layer of white. And then we're going to take our last layer of the black and stripe. Here, I'm going to leave it stuck on my blade even. Maybe that won't work out as well as I wanted it to. Ooh, we'll go this way. We'll use that. Line it up there. Oh, it's mostly lined up. This one got a little wonky. Maybe that wasn't the best move. These. Stay on camera, Beth. Okay. Here we go. And then we have one more layer of the white. Ooh, that's a funky layer. almost done, and here I am going to fix things. Be right back. All right, I fixed it. One more layer of white. And then this final layer of stripe. Now this final layer of stripe is probably the main reason why you're not really going to be reducing this, because as soon as you start, you'd be pulling it in this direction, but as soon as you start, you're really going to distort that last layer. And if you wanted to make a pattern where you put these up together, you're going to have that stripe be important. That's why if you want a smaller pattern, you can stack more of them. That's always an option. You make this deeper, then you'll have more to work with and you can stack more. Or yeah, you can work with it from here. That's the basic pattern. Let me take a clean slice. I need a better blade. This one's not good. Note to self, Beth, order more blades. Oh, this one's not good either. Got all distorted. You guys, what am I doing? I need a sharp one. Who has a new blade for me? Oh, hold on. Let's try this one. This is a lesson in reasons you should let the cane rest. Getting a lot of drag. Alright, we had to go off camera and put it through the cane slicer. It blurred that right there, but in the final pieces, there's a piano pattern in a cane. Go forth and make. Thanks for watching. Sorry this was a little scattered. I think you can see once you sit down to make this, you'll be like, oh wait, I should have made this wider or skinnier or more of that. And then you just keep like, you just got to get all the layers. It's about getting to the layers and making sure you have a sharp blade. Something I made from it. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed already, then subscribe. Ask me any questions you have, or feel free to comment below. Let me know how you're doing in this crazy time.